Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NUFC360 podcast. My name is Will Dixon, and you join us on a joyous week, I think, for all Newcastle fans concerned after Monday night's performance. Newcastle beating Arsenal 2-0. So we're here to talk about all things relating to that game, as well as a few other topics as well. And I am joined by, if you want to introduce yourself, lads, we'll go with, how about Mark first? Let's go.
Well, they know me because I've been doing the temporary hosting until you came along.
And I'm Johnny. I was here last week as well. So,
and I think I was also here last week.
So it's just me. This is the new one. Anyway, we're going to talk all things Newcastle debates this week. We've got a few topics regarding Callum Wilson and Eddie Howe as well coming up. But first, how about we just start with reflecting on the game on Monday night, guys? What were your thoughts on it? I mean, for me, that was absolutely joyous to watch.
Yeah, it was. It was probably the best performance of the season, I'd say. Start to finish, absolutely dominated Arsenal. Obviously, the crowd and the atmosphere and that was fantastic. Which someone else can.
Are you on about your performance in the crowd with the flag?
Oh, I didn't get a flag. I think I got a bloody plastic sheet. Didn't get. I was gutted.
You
weren't in the good seats then. There's only the good seats that got the flag.
No, sadly, I'm in the what's it called, the 1892 club. So no, sadly I didn't. But yeah,
you paid all that money for a ticket and they couldn't give you a flagpole.
No,
you need to have words there. Howie, come on.
But I think the best view though, because I was across from the United, down the other end from the Blue Star. Like it was a pretty sweet view. But no, it was awesome from start to finish. They didn't look like scoring at all. There's zero threat. We nullified them. We could have scored 3, 4, 5. No one had a bad game. I think it was a great way to finish the home calendar.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, watching the game from my point of view, it looked like Newcastle were the ones chasing a Champions League spot and not Arsenal.
It was. I mean, I know there was a little bit of controversy in the sort of post-match when they sort of said that Arsenal didn't really turn up. But to be honest, they didn't. It genuinely felt like they didn't turn up at all. And honestly, we were great. There wasn't a single person on the pitch. Even people like Sir Maximan, who's maybe had a few off games, he was terrific. Joe Linton, terrific. Gimaresh, terrific. There wasn't a single individual performance that you could single out. Okay, maybe Gimaresh, if you were going to pick a man of the match, but there wasn't a single person who you could look at and think they didn't give it 100% that game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Mark, it felt momentous as well. I thought. Seeing the atmosphere both before the game and after the game as well. Of course, with it being the last home game, you're seeing everybody walk around the pitch, do the lap of honour. The owners were on the pitch as well. It really does feel like. I feel like everyone's probably said this at one point during the season, but the feel-good factor and the enjoyment of Newcastle really is back, seeing that.
It is, and I think quite a few people have mentioned it, including probably, I think, the official NUFC Twitter. Something special is building here, and it is that. Johnny may fall off his seat with what I'm about to say, but I thought the SM had his best game in a Newcastle shirt for a long time.
Oh my God, I fall off my seat.
I did criticise him at one point because he did put in a cross that no one got, and I went, well, which Will striker was going to get on the end of that cross? Maxi. So there was one, yeah. You can't have everything, but no, it was one.
And there was his best game.
There was also
it was one of his best games in a long time. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, especially the season that he's had. He even passed to target. I was shocked. I nearly fell off my seat.
Yeah, it was very good. I agree. This season is probably one of his better performances. Yeah, but
even Kraft.
Yeah, all of them.
Kraft,
I thought.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. Can we just also have a special word for Kraft for working his first aid as well with Fab Shaw?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. He was. It was the challenge. Was it from Nketiah? I want to say.
I'd still like to know how that's not deemed as dangerous play.
I feel like it was deemed as accidental in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, but the dangerous play, you don't. It doesn't need to be intentional. It can be an accident and it still be dangerous play. The fact that you've knocked a player out and he's had to go off concussed would tell me there's an element of dangerous play.
go for the ball or anything
Yeah,
whatsoever.
but everyone's the argument that everyone makes about it being a red card is it doesn't have to be intentional. So you don't have to intend to go out to hurt someone.
I haven't seen a replay of
To be
it.
that.
Like, was it his head? Was his arm? Like, what actually connected with the shot?
If he's concussed, I would think it was his head, because if it was his arm, I'd love to know how he got concussed off that.
Nketiah's arm or head or what? Like,
no,
I don't think
his foot.
His arm.
Foot, okay.
I think
it was a high foot, and that's my point there. If it's a high foot, how is that not deemed dangerous? Yeah, because all in all, you've knocked someone out by that. So it wasn't exactly a gentle, high foot in that respect. But we didn't need to go down to 10 minutes. Yeah, and then we go down to 10 minutes time. Yeah, we beat them with 11.
Yeah, well, we'll start with our first topic, and one player that really did make a difference on the day was Callum Wilson. His first start since getting injured against Manchester United, I believe, the back end of last year. I mean, we'll start with you, Mark. What difference do you feel like he made coming back into the side?
Well, for one, he can actually score goals. Yeah, I'm not going to dig Wood out now because Wood's done everything, but I think he just instantly gives a threat. Yeah, opposition teams know exactly what he can do. He's got that pace, he's got that tenacity, he's got that hunger which you need, and I also think it'd give a lift. Yeah, I think it'd probably give a lift to Maxi. Yeah, whether or not there's a bit of a thing that Maxi had one of his best games when Callum Wilson was back fit, but yeah, it was just a completely different front three. Even Mickey, to a point, he was, having one of his better games in that, and it just showed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, sorry, Johnny, I wanted to just chime in. I mean, with Wilson, I mean, we've been on the winning run. The main bulk of the points we've amassed this season has been without Wilson in the side. So how is it so that he makes such a difference, and Newcastle fans are so desperate to see him back in the team, despite the fact we've been on that winning run with him not in it?
We have been in the winning run. It's a good point to make. However, what you would say is we've never blown teams away. We've never played like we did yesterday on Monday against
Norwich.
any of the teams that. Yeah, but that's Norwich. If you seen Norwich's results and who's beating them, my God, I could beat them.
You do 1-1 with Wolves.
Like, I just think with Wilson. With Wood, we've ground out results. We've got 1-0s and 2-1s, and we're really kind of won things at the last minute, and we've used other players. I saw a stat where we've got 17 goal scorers this season, which is that joint highest in the Premier League, and so that's obviously a huge point around what Wood brings to the players in the team. I think Wilson, you saw yesterday, it looks so much more dangerous. He plays on the last man. He makes the runs into the channels. We can play the balls around over the corner, around the corner, over the top, and he just, I think, insane ASM had his best game for ages. He did. So did Miggy, and so did a few others. And because he has that strength up front as a focal point, but he also has that speed and ability. I mean, the own goal, the first goal. I mean, obviously, it was a tap in for Wilson if Ben White had missed it. But he was a yard ahead of the defenders because he has that pace. If it was Wood, it'd have been a yard behind them, and we wouldn't have got that chance. So that's the difference. He's and to fair play to him, to play 90 minutes after such a bad injury, and to play it so well, like,
he
incredible.
didn't play 90 minutes.
Well, he came off at 91 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
no, he played 88.5 minutes.
Yeah.
You could say he didn't have a toothless performance.
He was definitely anything but toothless. Yeah.
I knew that was coming. I was waiting for someone to mention that. I was thinking of ways to mention it myself. You could work toothless into that. I'm not sure you could.
Is it
Well,
just
if you
Gary
Arsenal's performance?
There
Very
we go.
toothless.
Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
Well, obviously Gary Lineker, I don't know if you saw, but he tweeted something. He basically said, if Wilson could stay fit, he'd be one of the best strikers in the Premier League. Which, yeah, I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. He scores goals,
And he's out.
It's kind of been bad injury after bad injury for Wilson, though, hasn't it? And does that maybe going forward, obviously it's a big summer ahead, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that in the future about what we're going to think, but and what happens in the future regarding Newcastle strikers. But is that his main concern going forward? Is whether he's fit enough to be our leading striker, rather than the ability he actually has?
Yeah, I'd say so, 100%. If he played every game this season, I obviously had no issue, but he hasn't. He's been out for 4 or 5 months, so not reliable enough, unfortunately. Great player, and if we can keep him fit for half the season, awesome. But I still think we need another striker.
But that's the thing, though. Even if we bring in another striker who's also fantastic, and then if he has to go off to rest him, and you say, "Oh, Callum Wilson's going on," then everyone's going to be fine with that. It's not like now where you kind of think, "Oh, Dwight Gale's coming on." You think, "Okay, that's all right," but you kind of you're thinking, "Is he gonna create the chances that Wilson's creating?" Whereas if we bring someone else in, then if he has to go off for Wilson, we'll probably not really be too bothered by that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, when he did get injured, it was against Man United many months ago. Are you surprised by how well we've coped without him, considering how different of a team we look?
Yeah, not just him. To be fair, Trippier in that as well.
Yeah, very true. Mark, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, I think when you look at it back at the Man U game, you were probably sitting there thinking, "Oh God, no, what we're going to do?" Yeah. Yeah, even when Trippier got injured, you're sitting there going, "Oh Christ, this is Newcastle." Yeah, we just get someone, he scores, and then he goes off injured and that, and you're just sort of like panicking in there. But we've done well, and we haven't just relied on goals from Wood. Yeah. Gimaresh has got in, Joe Linton's got in. Yeah, Miggy scored a goal. Yeah, everywhere on the team, they're sort of like being helping out and getting goals, which is what you need. You need other areas of the pitch to get the goals for you rather than just strikers.
I fear Bruno's close to being our top goal scorer this season. He's got to 5.
He's got 5. Wilson's got 6. So a little double on the final day.
A hat trick v Burnley.
Exactly. Yeah.
Would do it for him, wouldn't it? Okay, fantastic. Well, moving on then. Next one, and this has been a big discussion in the football world, is that we had the nominations for manager of the season, and on it was our very own manager, Eddie Howe. The record speaks for itself, doesn't it, in terms of how Eddie's done since he's been at Newcastle. But if we go a little bit backtrack a little bit with Eddie, he wasn't the first choice, quite clearly, because they wanted to get Unai Emery first, the ownership. Were you pleased that it was Eddie that eventually was the one that had the managerial job? So, Mark.
100%. To be honest, I think any one of us would have took Eddie Howe even under the Mike Ashley regime. Yeah, if it was replacing Steve Bruce. Yeah, and it's probably something that a lot of people would have said, "Well, why don't we go for someone like an Eddie Howe? He's not going to cost any money in terms of compensation. We just need to get rid of Steve Bruce." This was my concern, is the fact that because Unai Emery had been named and everyone thought that we're going to be close to getting him and stuff like that when we did go and appoint Eddie Howe, that people would have been like disappointed that he'd come in. And I wasn't. I was actually buzzing that he was coming in because, before he got Bournemouth relegated, he was being linked to top jobs like the England job, like Arsenal, and he deserves that.
Yeah, totally agree. I think he would have been my number one choice at that point in time. I know obviously Emery was probably, but for me, he knew the English game better than Emery did. Obviously, he took Bournemouth up from minus 17 points in League Two up to the Premier League. That's an unbelievable feat given the financial constraints and whatnot. And let's face it, you only get relegated because of a dodgy goal line technology decision. So, yeah, at the time, I was same as Mark. I was absolutely chuffed with him coming in. And to be honest, the job that he's done is beyond my wildest dreams in terms of the performances he's got, the players have brought in, and and the spirit he seems to have fostered within the dressing room has been
and the coaching staff
and
the big man
absolutely.
JT Tinder.
I mean, Tom, I think a lot of the football community were looking at Eddie Howe going to Newcastle and kind of raising eyebrows. I think I've definitely remember a few people saying, what's the difference between Eddie Howe and Steve Bruce? I mean, how do you feel he's changed the culture?
Danny Murphy, just in case anyone was wondering.
How monumental has been that shift?
It's interesting, actually, because I know I briefly mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but we did one of the podcasts we did about a year or so ago. It was in the second lockdown, I think it was. So it was me and Evan and Davey and that. And we were kind of saying at the time, if Steve Bruce was to get sacked, because it was when he started his losing run, would you take Eddie Howe to replace him? And I do remember it was kind of a yes, but then there were sort of saying about whether it would be a long-term thing or not. But it's strange because now you look at it and you think, because there wasn't just that, there was people at the time saying, okay, I'm pleased with Eddie Howe for now. Whereas you can kind of look at it now and thinking, well, hang on, if things continue going the way they're going, then why would we want to get rid of Eddie Howe at all?
Yeah, could he be? I mean, Johnny, could he be the person that delivers the success that? Well, it's not a certainty with Newcastle, but could he be the person to win a trophy and take us to Champions League places?
100%. I genuinely think, and I'm not just saying this, I don't think another manager in the entire Premier League would have got the amount of points or the amount of results that Eddie Howe had since taking over.
I mean, look at the stats.
I like that before Howe.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's incredible. Like, with the squad that we have or had at the time when he took over, and then the signings obviously in Jan, which obviously he signed off on essentially. I generally don't think anyone else would have done a better job. So he deserves obviously an unbelievable round of applause for this year. But I think he also deserves a bit of grace period as well. So when things don't go so well, which are going to happen, you're all going to have kind of down periods and whatnot, in bad turns of form. But I think he's bought himself a good amount of time to really give it a good shot. And yeah, I don't see why we can't challenge for a cup. Challenge to get into Europe in the next couple of years. He seems to be the one to be able to get us there 100%.
Mark, a lot of people say that Eddie Howe only got Newcastle safe. First time it's happened after not winning the first 14 games as well. And there was only one win by late January. They'll only say it happened because of that January transfer window and those 5 signings. Do you think that's fair?
You mean one of the signings that didn't play for quite a lot of the period of the 9-game run because we were bedding them in? Or the fact that Kieran Trippier had been out injured for a vast majority of that, or that Callum Wilson, who was Willie and striker, was out injured at that time. Yeah, Matt Targett, who Arsenal didn't want. Sorry, not Arsenal, Aston Villa. They're all the same. They're all crap. Yeah. To be honest, I was listing the teams that would actually beat under Eddie Howe. That's why I was getting confused because there's that many. But no, Aston Villa didn't want Matty Targett. Yeah, so let's all laugh at Newcastle for getting him. Yeah, Dan Burn. Oh, but yeah, is he going to be good enough? Yeah, Chris Wood. Yeah, debate out on that one. But no, it's not just money. And if you also look at Newcastle as a side, we haven't had money to spend in years and years and years. So that money was just basically getting us up to where all the other teams have been in terms of that. But it's not just that. Yeah, Man U is a prime example of the fact that you can have money and you can have bucket loads of it, but it doesn't automatically turn into success. You have to have a manager there who will work hard. Yeah, to be honest, there was quite a low bar set in terms of what a manager does on the training pitch from a previous manager, which I don't want to name. But Eddie Howe would come in and change everything. Yeah, fitness regimes, the training, tactics, everything like that. He has everything, and he's in from 6 o'clock in the morning until probably about 7 o'clock at night. The only time, the previous manager was in that long is if he was stuck in the canteen.
Tom, should he win Manager of the Year?
Yes. No, I mean, just to echo what Mark said there, I mean, to add to that as well, you look at Joe Linton, who's been voted our player of the season, compared to what he was like in brackets before Howe, when he was probably one of our biggest liabilities. So it's things like that, and yeah, it's just. I think I understand that there could be content. I understand you can look at Pep and you can look at Jurgen and people like that, but it's something different as well, isn't it? Because it's always just the same managers that win every time. Pretty much, it feels.
Yeah,
like.
but Pep just buys players.
Yeah,
he doesn't improve them.
You know what? That would be an interesting one, actually, wouldn't it? If Pep and Eddie swapped, so Eddie managed Manchester City and Pep managed us, you think Pep would do as good a job as Eddie?
No. Genuinely,
Eddie'd win the Champions League, which Pep hasn't at Man City. But no, you look at it and you look at who's he improved. Kraft is a changed player since he's come in. Shaw, a player who couldn't play in the back two, could only play in the back three, is now constantly playing in the back two and excelling. You look at it and you go, Sean Longstaff, he's improved in that sense. Shelby's improved. Joe Linton's improved. Yeah, Ryan Fraser, look at the turnaround that he's had. Yeah, in that sense, Miggy was a lost little lad, under Bruce. Look at the performances that he's doing. There's not one player that you can turn and see has actually gone back in terms of how they're playing and how they're performing under Eddie Howe, which is a stark difference to what it was under Bruce, where nearly every single one of the players regressed in terms of how they could perform. Mm-hmm. Actually, maybe Kieran Clark to an exception, but
but I do see a point. Like Fabian Schär was pretty good under the Benitez, then he seemed to go down, then back up again. Longstaff, loads of people.
Yeah, they've all taken on like a new level. They all seem to have a bit more of a lease of life. I mean, in those first few games of the season, it was quite. They seemed to run out of steam after about 60 minutes or so. I think there was a lot of times we were in winning positions, but drop points later on in the game when they kind of ran out of puff a bit. I remember like Watford, Southampton, games like that as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, come on, training 2 days out of 5 and for about a couple of hours a day. It wasn't really.
Yeah. It's telling that Eddie Howe's first training session he did a bleep test. I mean, that just says it all, really. Mm-hmm. So there we go.
Definitely feel good factor under Eddie Howe. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Should he win Manager of the Year? Right, we're going to move on to, I think this is going to be an interesting one, interesting little debate that we're going to have next, is of course playing Arsenal. Arsenal looks like they're going to miss out on a Champions League spot. They've been through a real transitional time after winning the FA Cup in 2020. But who is going to win a trophy first next, Arsenal or Newcastle? Tom, give us your prediction and your case.
I think it could be tight, but and this isn't just me being optimistic here, but I just think with the money that we've got, the investment that we've got, that it feels like we've got more ambition at the minute. It feels like some Arsenal fans are starting to turn on the manager, going, oh, why is he signing a new contract and things like that.
Arsenal fans turning on the manager. Never seen that happen before.
Never heard that before. Arsene Wenger. Yeah, but yeah, it is. Whereas, it just feels like the atmosphere here, and especially with how new it is kind of to us, which I guess in a way that could be seen as a disadvantage. That sort of fighting for the top half of the table is, I guess, relatively new to us, at least in recent years. But I just think there's a lot more potential with us.
Where is the top half of the table?
Yeah, you're sorry.
Where is the top half of the table?
10 and above, I would say. Or top 8.
Tends to be how it works, yeah. 20 teams, it's half a 10.
Yeah. Mark's quickly doing some maths.
You see cogs going. I mean, well, Mark, I think for next season, I think a lot of Newcastle fans I've spoken to personally, I don't know the ones you have. They're saying next season just don't be in relegation, kind of threatened, kind of like we've had pretty much since I can remember as being a Newcastle fan. If that's achieved, it's kind of steady in the mid-table. Do you think a cup run is possible as early as next season, or is it going to take a few more years to get the squad in place?
Given the levels of performance that we've had in the second half of the season, it's certainly possible. The one thing which I'm actually hating at the minute is when you see certain radio shows, which I'll not name, or radio stations that I'll not name, that are automatically going in saying, oh, Newcastle should be aiming for Europe next season. They should be aiming for the top 4. I'm like, no. Yeah. Where you going to... And they were even sort of like taking the mick out of Newcastle fans because they were saying, we don't want Champions League football next season, or we don't want European football next. Yeah, it'd be lovely. But yeah, this is a building job. Yeah, you don't want to build too soon. Because look at what happened under the Pardew era, where we got into Europe, but we then didn't have the ability to strengthen. Yeah, and ended up being back in a relegation battle. Yeah. Let's build slowly. Let's just not be in a relegation battle or even to be towards the top half of the mid-table or top 10. Then keep on working from there and try and get a cup win in. Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's not going to be a quick fix like everyone seems to think it is. Yeah, when they look at all the money, we are going to be constricted in terms of what we can do because of financial fair play. But you also then look at it and go, look at how Arsenal collapsed. Yeah, in terms of that. So could we potentially win a trophy before them? Looking at the mentality of their side, probably, because I think we probably got a stronger mentality in terms of our team, and it's United, than an Arsenal side that, even though they did spend a fair bit of money to strengthen in the summer, don't look to be anywhere near. Now, whether or not them finishing 4th is still would have been overachieving for them, yeah, you would have expected them to come up here with the top 4, on the line and put in a better performance than that. So if that's what they're going to be when they're getting into cups where they need to win knockout stages, if they're going to crumble like that just at Newcastle, then there's every chance that we'll go further than them. And even if it's just the Carabao Cup, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Johnny, your thoughts? Who do you think will win one first?
I genuinely think Newcastle. And the reason I think that is Arsenal are currently a miles better team than us. Like in general, they're got better players.
Not on Monday.
No, not on Monday, but in general, over the course of a lengthy period, you'd say Arsenal are a better team currently, but they're nowhere near Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City. So next season, they aren't going to beat either of those 3 teams to a trophy, and probably the season after, and probably the season after. By that point, we probably will. We will hopefully, fingers crossed, be up there with the Arsenal, with the Chelseas, with the Liverpools, with the Man Cities by 3-4 years' time, which will give us a much better standing to go and win a trophy. I can honestly see, I can't see Arsenal investing heavily in terms of players, given that they have this young core of players that they probably want to keep together. And I don't see them challenging the Chelseas, the Liverpools, and Man Cities of this world for at least a good few years, where at that point, hopefully, we'll be one of them. So, I'm pretty not confident, but I'm hopeful that we'll be the next team out of us or them to win a trophy. And as Mark says, don't care what it is. Could be in Total Cup for all I care. Just something to put in the trophy cabinet and have a massive day out on the sesh.
I mean, Johnny, do you think it's actually going to be possible for Newcastle to win a trophy as early as next season? Because I mean, you look at Liverpool; they've gone for all 4 trophies this year, and it's not impossible that they could achieve that. City had a stranglehold on the Carabao Cup for a good few years as well. Is it more a question of when are those two gonna
relent?
Relent a bit, if you like.
I think so. I genuinely think so. I think next season I'd go for the cups. I think it's a good run together. But when you get to the semis or the final, that's when you come up against those sort of teams, and that's where we'll probably fall down. Let's face it, we're not going to be there next season. So for me, next season probably not. In terms of winning anything, it's not out the question, but for me, I think a few seasons will hopefully be at that level where we're able to challenge those teams in a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, I mean, FA Cup semi-final at Wembley, I think a lot of people would take that.
I
mean, Tom,
100%.
One example I think I keep thinking back to about what Newcastle could do is that if you look at West Ham a couple of years ago, I remember in 2020, they finished 16th, I think, under David Moyes. And the next season, after only a couple of signings, I think, didn't they finish 6th or something? And then Leicester, I think the season before, they finished 5th after finishing mid-table out of nowhere and didn't really spend big. They bought in like the likes of Perez, and I think they signed Tielemans permanently. surely it's not out of reach to think that Newcastle could qualify for maybe even the Europa League next season.
Oh, I think Europa League definitely, because that's essentially the easiest one to qualify for. And look, we've done it before, and I think it kind of echoing what Johnny said. It's not, if we get into something like the Europa League and we don't end up winning it, it's not the point, it's the starting point. And the fact that we've actually got there and we've been challenging for it, I think will be more than enough for the first season with new owners.
Johnny just wants the ability to go away and get absolutely in Europe. Yeah, that's all he's going.
I've already discussed it with my mates. Get us in that Europa Conference League and get us across to Latvia and Lithuania and Norway or wherever. Yeah,
Moldova.
All these random teams. Yeah, too right. Love a trip away.
Fun times, wasn't it? Okay, we'll go through all of you guys. Mark, start with you. Who's winning a trophy first, Newcastle or Arsenal?
Newcastle.
Johnny.
Newcastle.
Tom.
Newcastle.
And this isn't us being as delusional as Ty from Arsenal Fan TV, who thought the referee was to blame for them losing.
I haven't actually seen his interview. I haven't seen what they've had to say, really. I was too busy enjoying myself.
They were too busy blaming the referee and telling the 12-year-old to F off.
I was too busy impulse buying a Bruno shirt after he scored again. Very much on the hype train at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, that's all we've got time for, unfortunately, today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody who tuned in on YouTube to the NUFC360 podcast. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Mark, Johnny, Tom, it's been a pleasure.
It has.
See ya.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.